You know how bullish I am on Gunnar Henderson, even if he's leading the league in WAR. The way Aaron Judge is being treated now and seeing how locked in he is, it reminds me of Barry Bonds. I'm not saying he's Bonds. I'm not saying he's going to have the season like him. I don't know if he's going to get the opportunities to hit the home run. But when you see somebody so locked in, they get one chance to hit a baseball and they hit it out of the yard, it's like you can see other teams are going to treat him this way. And I don't know that Gunnar is going to get that treatment. I think this is, and God, it makes me sick saying this. I think this is Judge's award to lose.
Right.
And as much as I love Gunnar, as much as I don't dislike Aaron Judge. Look, I respect the player. I hate the Yankees, which being a Baltimore fan it's just going to happen, guys. We're not going to be friends during baseball season.
Fun game yesterday, though.
Oh, it was amazing. Absolutely amazing. And just think about it. If that game ends differently, I mean, we're all sitting here talking about Craig Kimbrell ran out of the dugout and hugged Cedric Mullins for nobody wanting to talk about him after he blew that save, because that's been a big thing here in Baltimore. He has 5 blown saves and they've won 3 of them. It's just that is
strange. Crazy. Yeah. That's really crazy. He has 5 blown saves. They've won 3 of the game. How impossible that I don't. The probability of that's got to be staggering. But you're right with your Judge comp. So I just I'll tell you where I'm at in this market, and then maybe Jake can kind of tell you where he's at in the market. So Judge is a really prohibitive favorite to win, about minus 350, minus 300, minus 400. Like, you get the idea. No matter where you go, Gunnar, by far the second choice, 250, 275 coming back. And then if you want to bet somebody else, your answer would probably be Juan Soto or Bobby Witt Jr., 20-1, 25-1, something like that. I think advice here, at the kind of the actual midway point, like 2 weeks ago, basically everybody who did midseason ballots, midseason votes for awards, all the content that started coming out was essentially the same, which is Judge is ahead, but everybody kind of disagreed on how far he was ahead. And there was like some kind of intimating that, like, okay, if Gunnar has like a big weekend series, the series that just ended against if 3 games, 5 games, 7 games, just a little bit of momentum, and it could be viewed as they're side by side. Like, that's felt like how close Gunnar was. So I wasn't in there like firing on Gunnar Henderson, but kind of conceptually, I was like, man, minus 350 and he's 3-1, and the difference between them is somewhat small. And, you're kind of wondering if this is going to really become a 2-player race, and like a competitive 2-player race, not just that there are 2 players that can win. And that just hasn't really happened the last few games. And, Judge on Friday, the first game of that series, was incredible. Gunnar has not been as good recently, which is only just because the bar was set so high going into the last couple weeks that he just hasn't been that. And there's now I think a pretty big difference between the two of them. I would just caution people, like, if you use WAR and that's it, like, you think of it like Rookie of the Year, like, well, I just look at the WAR and then I make the bets. Like, you are really missing the boat in an award like MVP, where the wins above replacement is compelling, but when 2 players are close, the offensive numbers are always the tiebreaker, and Judge is absolutely owning the offensive number. Like, it's not close. And so don't be like, well, Gunnar's 0.1 up in this WAR, he's not ahead, he's not even close, he's way behind. Like, definitely. And that doesn't mean he can't get back to even. 2 weeks from now, 3 weeks from now, a month from now, he can get there. Just like you can be misled if you're just using the wins above replacement to think about the difference. Listen to what voters are doing what you're doing. They're comparing him to Bonds. Like, Jason Stark wrote his column. I think he compared him to Bonds in that article. 2 other voters, I think, have compared him to Bonds. It's like, that's what's happening right now. And until you get a little more compression between the two, I wouldn't be just like firing in Gunnar Henderson parlays or Gunnar Henderson bets. I think you don't bet it until you see like a crack in the armor, until you see something happen. And that is definitely not what's happening right now. I thought it had the chance to happen. I thought this weekend series could have allowed Gunnar to narrow it. Judge plays really poorly and Gunnar goes crazy. Maybe we exit the series and it's a 2-player race, and maybe it's time to make bets on one or the other. That's not what's happening, and I think Judge is at least as far ahead as the price indicates right now.
It's pretty crazy. Like, as I watched this weekend, and Gunnar had been scuffling all week. He had a 2-run shot yesterday, and he's going to put up great numbers all season long. The only way that, in my opinion, that I see him catching Judge is an injury. Or if Judge just, like, I don't think he's ever done this in his career, just totally fades. I don't know why anybody would think that happens. It's baseball. Weird things happen. But man, it's just like, he is so locked in right now, and the comparison to Bonds doesn't feel fair, but I think it's correct.
Ohtani and Bryce Harper, I guess there are other players who could win this. I just don't understand how it's going to happen, and I can't see it yet, and so I would never bet on any of it. Ohtani's about the same price as Judge, so it's an easy comparison. Harper is not priced the same as Gunnar, but I think is viewed as the most likely player who can win. Are you the same way with Ohtani that you are with Judge, or you see this one differently?
I still think there's more of a path for Ohtani to lose if somebody, God in this market, wants to do anything and make any kind of case to win this award. I still think that if push came to shove and somebody made a case, that the voters would lean away from Ohtani, because again, it's the same thing that I've talked about until I'm purple in the face. He's only a DH. They know that they're going to have to give this award to him probably 5 of the next 7 years as it is. This is the one year that they would have a built-in excuse not to. I don't think Harper's the next likeliest. I think what you need is something crazy, and I think there's one guy capable of doing something crazy. I think it's Elly De La Cruz. If he goes like 35 and 100, then I think it gets a little interesting. So like I bet Elly a little bit at 90-1. Do I think he's going to win? Not really, but at the price, I was like, it's worth a shot. And now I can scream CLV until I pass out, and then I have no money. But like he's the only person that I think like reasonably has a path.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that too. If you just go by like kind of like who's moved up the charts and the metrics like pretty fast, you could land on like Christian Yelich would probably be the guy that you would land on, just as like a guy who was kind of out of the periphery and now is at least near Freeman and Ozuna and some of the other guys that are, but it's just, is this year lamer than most years, Jake? This one feels lamer than, and Ohtani has been a big favorite to win. And when he was in the AL, obviously, he was a big favorite. Trout's been a big favorite, but like other players have been big favorite. This isn't the first time this has happened. But like, I mean, was Acuna even that? Because Betts had that crazy run last year and made it fun, like in July and August. This one feels so dead for being. It's only July 15th. They feel done. Like, do you get that same impression? Like this one's just a little lamer than usual.
Yeah, and also with Acuna, like he was a huge favorite, but also he was like chasing history. He was doing something really cool and fun that you heard about every night. Use the Ohtani example. You barely see him. You see him for like 3 seconds because he's running around the bases because he hit another home run. Okay, back to the bench, guy. See you in 2 innings, 3 innings. Like that's nothing. Judge, it would be cool if we hadn't already seen him do it 24 months ago. Like we've seen this, we've done this whole song and dance with Judge. Oh, is he going to break his own record? I don't know, maybe, but it's already been done once and he currently holds the title. So who cares, except for people in New York probably. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely a little lame. That's why I think we're rooting for an Elly to do something crazy or for Gunnar to keep doing something really nuts and keep hitting leadoff home runs, because we're just looking for any kind of juice here to be excited about anything at all.